What an absolute spectacle we've witnessed in this third and fourth place match. It's like a game of singles versus married men, as some are calling it. Welcome. But it's been a delight because, of course, there's not that same discipline or that fear, that pressure of reaching a final, of staying in the tournament. At this point, well, things are left a bit to improvisation and to the players' mood. And honestly, the mood of the French players in the first half was truly melancholic. And that's when they relax, everything loosens up tactically, which is why it's a nightmare for coaches. I mean, a 6-4 match is the kind that gives a coach a heart attack, but for the fans, it's fantastic. It's been a delight to watch this. We're not going to see something like this tomorrow. Tomorrow, of course, if France and England had faced each other in the World Cup final, we wouldn't have seen this. But hey, look, this match that people say doesn't matter, that it's a waste of time and all that, has given us 10 goals. Has Mbappé already given us, unless something happens tomorrow? My God, I hope not. The top scorer in the history of the World Cup with 22 goals now has 10 in this World Cup. I think that's also an absolute record. Since Eusebio's first goal in 66, he has scored 2 in today's match. Marcola and Dembele scored the others. When he scored the first one, he was already alongside Eusebio in history. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think that's how the record was. As the only one who scored 9 goals in a World Cup, Eusebio, the Portuguese, the legendary one. And now with the last one he scored, with the second goal of today's match. Well, with 10, it's a very round number. Is it the golden boot? Unless Messi says otherwise, and it's the proof once again that Mbappé, who would have thought, right? Last year, 50 goals, the number of goals he scores with Madrid and with the national team, and he doesn't win anything. Why is that? Because football keeps teaching the same lesson once again. The other day in the Spain-France semi-finals, today as well in this tournament too, because until France faced weaker opponents, everything was going their way. Well, of course, yes, he scores a lot of goals, no kidding. But then you play against a rival that takes the ball away from you, that has possession, that plays like a team with set routines, and it doesn't matter if you're a group of stars or if you score a lot of goals. In the end, look, others will fight for the title. And Mbappé with Madrid these last 2 years, well, that's how it is. I hope that kid, it's not so much his responsibility. He scores his goals, he does his job, but, well, there you have it. That we Madrid fans should think about that, right? And I hope that Mourinho builds a team, something we haven't had in the last 2 years. But anyway, moving on from this, I put Bellingham here, and Saka, who scored 3 goals, was given the penalty by Bellingham. The penalty so that the Arsenal player could get the hat-trick, and he did it. That dampened the game at that moment, as France was close to scoring a 4th goal. Oliseh made a quick right-footed play over there. Very strange. Oliseh, by the way, record for assists in this World Cup. Today has been a day of absolute records in what I believe is one of the best World Cups in the history of football for everything. Number of goals, spectacular matches, comebacks, crazy things. Even this third place match is probably the best third place match we've ever seen, right? But as I was saying, Bellingham came in. Tuchel today left Harry Kane and Bellingham on the bench. I mean, what is this man doing? What is he doing? Well, it didn't turn out too badly for him because the first half was all melancholy from the French, an overwhelming attack from the English, and as I said, 4-0. In the second half, Bellingham came in, but not Harry Kane. He didn't get any minutes, and he was going to take that penalty, but he let Saka take it. And look, then Bellingham had 2 chances. Maradona-like. Absolutely, in the first one, he just missed the shot by a little, and in the second, he scored the 6th goal. Anyway, with 10 seconds left before the added time ends in the match, a wonderful play, absolutely wonderful. It's a shame it happened in a match like this. Well, better in this one than in a group stage match, right? At least here they were actually playing for something, 2 of the 4 best teams we've seen in this World Cup. So this is a great stage to score a goal. I'm not sure it's historic, since 3rd and 4th place matches rarely make history. Maybe this one will, because of the goals, the stars, and how it happened. But it's a snapshot. Bellingham's goal is one. It's a snapshot with 7 goals. And today, he could have scored 8 today. If he scores the penalty, if they let him take the penalty and he scores, or if he doesn't give it to Bukayo Saka, damn, a midfielder with 7 goals in a World Cup is already amazing. It's already amazing. Mbappé has 10, Messi still has 8. He has 1 game left, and it's not just any game. And Jude Bellingham, as I said, has 7. Huh? We all thought when France scored the 3rd goal that Tuchel was going to be in the spotlight again. not so much because of him, since he hasn't really done that much either. England, after the break, stayed back. They haven't made any changes in that regard, that they would have sent a message to the opponent for it to be that way. And well, it's a matter of opinion. Simply because France felt a wave of embarrassment and said, hey, in the second half, let's do something. DL made 4 changes, by the way, and it was going to be a farewell for Deschamps. And in fact, it is a bit sad. They score 6 against England. It's true that France scores 4, but they score 6. As I said, it was going to be a very bitter farewell. It's less so, but in any case, it's still bitter. About a coach, we've always criticized a lot Deschamps because he didn't make France play the way a team like that should play. And it's true. In this World Cup's group stage and early knockout rounds, France has played the best football I can remember since 2018. Besides, he has won a World Cup and a Nations League, and that's it, World Cup and Nations League, because in the Euros, in the European Championships, he hasn't reached a single final. Well, I take that back, the one in 2016, sorry. He lost at home against Portugal, and the rest of the European Championships. Well, semi-finals, he has been stuck there in the semi-finals, and in the one in 2021, against Switzerland, he was eliminated in the round of 16. That was really a failure, but they never fired him. They trusted him. And look, he made it this far. France first in 2018, second in 2022. And in this one, which I thought would be third, finally ends up being fourth. Zinedine Zidane will be the coach of France from this moment on. And I don't know, Zidane has only coached at Real Madrid. Madrid has won 3 Champions Leagues, 2 La Ligas, and Intercontinental Cups or Club World Cups. I think he also won 3 plus 2 European Super Cups. I don't know the exact number, but that's not the most important thing. Zinedine Zidane won all that with Real Madrid and in record time. But of course, Madrid is a very unique team, and the French national team is as well. But it's clear that here you have to build more of a team than just a group of individuals. Maybe when it comes to motivating his players, the influence he can have over the locker room could be key, as it already was at Real Madrid. Much more than Deschamps, right? But watch out for Deschamps, because people have been saying this for a while. If Mourinho doesn't do well at Real Madrid, of course, the patience is already running thin. The bar for patience is set very low. It could be Deschamps who comes in. He might end up without a team at some point because apparently Florentino likes him, and also because Mbappé would speak well of him and so on as a possible replacement. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. I don't want it to happen, God forbid, but still. If at some point people start talking about another coach who could be the French manager, well, that's that. That on one hand, wonderful 6-4, a wonderful ending to the penultimate day of the World Cup, and tomorrow the big final. I don't want to think about it. I'll just make it to the match's opening whistle. Absolutely exhausted after everything we've been seeing and hearing in the last few hours. And this war of words between, well, YouTubers, content creators, journalists, people with a microphone and so on. I think in the end, the teams haven't said anything, or they haven't said anything, except for Laporte's case, which we talked about in the previous video, which might really upset people, man. By the way, Kun Agüero replied to Laporte, since they were teammates back in the day, with a wild comment. I think he said, hey, when you saw me, did you get scared or something like that? And then he says, no, it's a joke, it's a joke. Kun Agüero, always embarrassing himself. And I want to end the video with the Rodri situation. It's being talked about a lot, Rodri. It's being talked about a lot. People are talking, look, I really trust Sergio Valentin because he was the one who was on it best from the start, and with more information too. By the way, talking about the Mourinho situation with Real Madrid, and he has several correct predictions to his name, a few mistakes here and there. He said in a tweet recently, hey, because someone was criticizing him for something I don't remember about which player. And he said, damn, man, people remember your mistakes more than your successes, even though he gets more right than wrong. It's worth keeping in mind. He says, they say Real Madrid have changed their mind about Rodri. Mourinho wanted another midfielder and someone different from the ones he already has. Real Madrid have agreed and told him that after the World Cup, they're going to try to sign him. Rodri wants to sign for Real Madrid. That's what Sergio Valenti says. Valentin, as they say on El Larguero, says that Rodri is indeed crazy about signing for Real Madrid. But Florentino doesn't want to. Florentino doesn't want to. I have a little fear. Rodri wants to come to Spain. He already wants to leave England and all that. Careful. Maybe Barca is there thinking, damn, maybe that might not be a bad move at all. Not bad at all. Barca or Atleti could work for them, but I doubt he'd return to Atleti. I don't think Rodri would be thrilled either, given the team's style. Nothing. Also, sorry, because he already tried with Simeone and things didn't work out with Simeone so well. He had to leave. Anyway, why not? Oh man, because they just don't fit. They don't match. I think Atleti is out of the equation, but watch out, Barca and so on. For Madrid, Rodri would be amazing. 2-3 years of Rodri. I still think the same, guys, and I've actually thought the same for a long time. I was unsure about the World Cup and wanted to see how he performed. To, in fact, more reliably assess whether we should take the risk of signing him for 50 or 60 million, which is what was being discussed between winter and spring. Well, of course, now the price must have gone up because of the World Cup he had, because I don't think City wants to let him go either. And then all the other variables come into play. He does this in 7 World Cup games, but not over a full league season. I've read all your comments. And well, yes, that's true too, but damn, he's shown that at least he's not hurt. As we mentioned the other day, many so-called soccer experts claim, no, this guy is useless now, but just look at his World Cup performance. Well, that's what they say on El Larguero, that Florentino wouldn't want him. And this is what Rodri said, I think, just yesterday. So yesterday they asked him, and the Spanish footballer said this. At a time that's a bit
with a lot of new things that are being talked about a lot in Spain because of the future and all that. I don't know if that, where does that situation stand? No, it's not. It doesn't concern you at all right now. No, well, not right now.
No, well, right now, like I said before the World Cup, I'm just thinking about this. I still have a contract with my club, and that's something I'll deal with when it's over. Because honestly, I'm not thinking about it at all right now. It's an important challenge, the challenge we have. So it's not something I'm thinking about right now. The only conclusion I can draw is that obviously raising the level helps me. It will help me make a decision. And obviously, I'm happy about that with the performance, but we're just one step away from glory.
taking a step up will help me decide. Otherwise, I just say I'm staying. I'm happy in Manchester and not going anywhere. And no, he's not happy in Manchester. He was at one point, but now he wants to leave. He's crazy about the idea about coming to Real Madrid. Why? 50, 60 million. Do you think Rodri doesn't have 2 or 3 more years at a very good level? Let me know in the comments. I believe he does, and I've put myself out there for a while. This midfielder is incredible and proving it. He was at the time, and he's proving it with the national team and in this World Cup. Back in the day, and I've said this a million times here, but since there are people who are new to the videos, I'll say it again. Back then, Vinicius deserved the Ballon d'Or more than Rodri. Of course, I never said otherwise. No, I mean, yes, was the Ballon d'Or stolen from Vinicius? Of course it was. Because later on, Vinicius won the best, and the best usually matches up with the Ballon d'Or. Well, in that case, it didn't, because we all know about all the propaganda and the whole campaign that was done at the time. But is it crazy that this guy with the World Cup he's having could have a Ballon d'Or to his name? No, it's not crazy. Why would it have been crazy if Vinicius had won it? The truth is that the timing and everything that happened ended up shaping things the way they turned out. But that now he would fit perfectly at Real Madrid. I have no doubt about it. Let me know in the comments. Have a great day. Give it a like if you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe to the channel, comment, and share. See you in the next one, which will be, well, a preview of the final. I think I'll make one tonight here in the United States. We're still in Dallas. Last game, last show. We'll do it on A Todo Gol on Daystar Espanol, where I've been doing this show all along. And the World Cup, which will be on Monday after the final. And that's it. Then we'll switch to road trip mode from Dallas to Miami, just like we did in the ADA. I'll be making the videos there from the car, and you already know a little bit about that dynamic. Anyway, there'll be a video in the early hours here in the United States. European morning before the final. Let's see what we discussed then. I'm signing off. Thanks for being there. See you later. Bye.